Hello the cop, please subscribe my channel for follow Liverpool Football Club news on everydays. Why Joe Gomez's rise as Swiss Army knife may change Liverpool transfer plans. Liverpool have seen a new utility man emerge in Jurgen Klopp's squad this season, with Joe Gomez potentially solving a problem in the transfer market. Pro tip for anyone interested in writing for This Is Anfield: try not to write something based on a tweet. I made an exception for this particular tweet. Joe Gomez has not just been outstanding this season, he's seemingly been everywhere. He's made 27 appearances in all competitions so far this season. Since signing in 2015, he's only bettered that tally 3 times, and it's still only January. The 26-year-old has received a lot of criticism at times in his Liverpool career, having failed to consistently show his best form, particularly after serious injury. But this campaign, he's operating at his best level again, and crucially, doing so in multiple positions. Centre-back. Despite being a centre-back by trade, Gomez has featured there just 3 times so far this season. He rose from the bench to play his part in the comeback win over Newcastle after Virgil van Dijk's dismissal, excelled in the 3-0 demolition of Aston Villa, and came in for Van Dijk again in the Europa League defeat of Toulouse. In the latter game, he was remembered more for his assist after switching to a fullback role late on. Nevertheless, in all 3 games Liverpool emerged victorious, and Gomez was faultless in all 3. The imperiousness of Van Dijk, the resurgence of Joel Matip and the strong tactical fit for Ibrahima Konate in Liverpool's system have deprived Gomez of minutes in his preferred position at times this season. But he has showed, particularly in the game against Villa, that he can still offer plenty as an option there. Liverpool's success that day was built on an aggressive high press which needed a high defensive line to sustain it. Gomez's pace and reading of the game was key to that. He also made an excellent intervention at 2-0, reading a run to the near post to deny Leon Bailey a goal that would have invited Villa back into the game. Elbow back. The role of the elbow back has become mainstream in recent years. It refers to the practice of deploying a central defender as a fullback, and tasking them with forming a situational back 3. This allows the opposite fullback to get forwards, creating an asymmetrical structure that opponents find harder to deal with. It's also a result of teams seeking greater protection in the last line of defense. As games get quicker and more physical, the counter-attacking threat of every team has improved, meaning Liverpool must keep the back door locked no matter who their opponent is. This profile of defender was looked at in the summer transfer window, but with no such signing made, Gomez is the clearest fit within the squad. He was duly deployed there for the visit to Luton, who looked to counter in wide areas and then rain crosses into the box. Gomez's height was useful at set pieces, while he also stepped across to cover well early in the second half when Carlton Morris looked certain to score. However, the nature of the game, with Liverpool breaking down a low block and Luton countering, led to Gomez venturing forwards to hold width anyway. Jurgen Klopp therefore replaced him with the more naturally adventurous Kostas Tsimikas, though Liverpool ultimately dropped a frustrating 2 points. Fullback. It has been fullback where Gomez has truly shone. With Trent Alexander-Arnold increasingly stepping into midfield, an overlapping fullback has been something of a plan B at times. In the vice-captain's absence, Gomez was asked to invert from right back in the first half against Wolves, and looked uncomfortable at times. After the break, Liverpool switched to a more familiar shape, with Gomez and left-back Andy Robertson flying forwards down the wings. The result was a 3-1 win, and while Robertson took the headlines with a brilliant goal, Gomez also looked excellent in both attack and defense on the right. Since being an unused substitute at the Etihad in November, Gomez has featured as a right-back or left-back in every Premier League game. His cameo on the right freed up Alexander-Arnold to seal the comeback win over Fulham, and his introduction at 1-0 down versus Crystal Palace also contributed to a dramatic 2-1 victory. But the true value of Gomez has been seen at left-back. He replaced the injured Tsimikas during the 1-1 draw with Arsenal, with Bukayo Saka failing to complete a single take-on against Gomez in the remaining 55 minutes. But this was no elbow-back performance. Gomez also came closest to a winner with an excellent run and curling effort that whistled past the post. Gomez has maintained the role in wins over Burnley, Newcastle and Arsenal, again, combining his defensive steel with an added attacking threat that has seen the topic of his long-awaited first senior goal begin to dominate the news cycle. Liverpool's Swiss Army knife. Despite topping the league table and having its best defense, Liverpool's rearguard is a topic of constant debate. Alexander-Arnold's migration into midfield has raised calls for a new attacking right-back, although the emergence of Connor Bradley in recent weeks may have an influence on that. Jarell Quansah has had a meteoric rise this season, but with Joel Matip out of contract this summer, defensive reinforcements are craved among many supporters. The rise of the elbow back has seen Liverpool linked with a host of versatile left-footed defenders, and the transfer market is open. And despite stepping up prior to his injury, some have felt an upgrade on Kostas Tsimikas to be necessary in the near future. Thanks to Joe Gomez, however, Liverpool currently have excellent cover in each of these many roles. Liverpool's new Swiss Army knife may not be able to play everywhere all at once. But his ability to play anywhere in the back line gives Liverpool a range of options for the rest of the season, and for their transfer planning going forwards. Mo Salah told to be honest with Egypt manager after playing in new position. Mohamed Salah is no longer used on the right for Egypt, instead being deployed in a new role, with JJ Okocha urging him to be honest with his manager. Following Egypt's 2-2 draw with Mozambique to open their Africa Cup of Nations group games, there has been an understandable focus on Salah. The 31-year-old came away with a goal and an assist, though there is debate over the quality of his equalizing penalty, and setting up Mustafa Mohamed's opener was hardly intentional. Read, late drama. Salah saves Egypt with penalty, after clumsiest assist of his career. It was a difficult game for Egypt on the whole, and came with their captain being trialled in a new position, almost as a number 10. That has led African football legend Okocha, who was top scorer and player of the tournament at the AFCON in 2004, to call for Salah to be honest with manager Rui Vitória over his best role. Salah is a player who must be monitored. Any team facing Egypt must watch him, he is quoted by King Fut. It is up to the coach to find the best position for him to get the best performance and result. Salah is one of the greatest African players, and he should be honest with the manager and tell him which position suits him. While it is interesting to see Salah used behind the striker, and he even popped up deeper in the 2-0 friendly win over Tanzania before the tournament, he is clearly most comfortable on the right wing. He is still able to drift to that area in this new role, and it can be argued that it is natural for him to do so, but the suggestion is that Vitória is not maximizing his ability. Salah wants to achieve success with his national team, and that puts him and the whole team under pressure, Okocha continued. You have to learn from the lesson of drawing with Mozambique, and it requires a strong team to return in terms of results and performance. Khaled Eldarandali, vice president of the Egyptian FA, has already revealed that a meeting has been scheduled for Vitória to pore over the draw with his players. Perhaps that would be the time for Salah to speak up and offer his own tactical advice. Liverpool confirm they have triggered recall clause for right-back. Liverpool have welcomed back yet another returning loanee this month, after Calvin Ramsay was recalled by the club from his spell at Preston North End. The right-back made his temporary switch to Deepdale this summer after his 2022-23 campaign on Merseyside was cut short due to injury, but he only managed to register 2 senior appearances, having suffered various other fitness complications. This is Anfield reported last week that Liverpool were preparing to bring back the 20-year-old, and that move has now been confirmed. Liverpool and Preston both reported the news on Monday afternoon, with Ramsay having left the Championship side days previous. Speaking after his side's victory over Bristol City at the weekend, Lowe admitted that Ramsay's departure had been in the works. "We've got no information on it yet, but Liverpool are calling him back," said the Preston manager, as quoted by the Lancashire Post. "We are just waiting on them to officially announce it, but he has gone back to Liverpool, yeah." It spells the end of Ramsay's spell with the Championship side, which began to look inevitable when Lowe left the defender out of 7 consecutive matchday squads despite being past fit to return to the field. Lowe declared the youngster not ready, having worked his way back to full fitness, and a FRESH loan move elsewhere appears to be a likely next step. An injury to Trent Alexander-Arnold has opened up opportunities at right back over the coming weeks, but Connor Bradley's impressive display against Fulham in the League Cup semi-final makes him a prime candidate for the vacated minutes. The Scot adds his name to the growing list of returning loanees to Anfield this month, with Fabio Carvalho, Nat Phillips, Owen Beck, Reece Williams, and James Balagizi all seeing their loan spells cut short prematurely. It remains to be seen whether Ramsay can gain valuable experience between now and the end of the season, but his stay at the Lilywhites has proved to be an ultimately unsuccessful one. If he were to feature for Liverpool's first team before the end of January, he would not be able to play a third club this season. Virgil van Dijk names ex-Arsenal and Chelsea star as toughest opponent. Virgil van Dijk has named ex-Chelsea and Arsenal striker Olivier Giroud as the toughest opponent he has faced throughout his career. The Liverpool captain has been widely regarded as one of the best centre-backs in the world for the best part of the last decade, notably making the Reds title challengers instantaneously upon joining the club during the 2017-18 season for a whopping £75 million. Since signing for Liverpool, Van Dijk has helped the club to a Premier League, FA Cup, EFL Cup, FIFA Club World Cup and UEFA Champions League titles, winning the PFA Players Player of the Year and UEFA Men's Player of the Year awards thanks to his stunning performances. Having played at the top of the game for a number of years, the defender has expectedly come up against some of the very best forwards in modern history. He has faced off against Premier League greats like Sergio Aguero as well as greatest of all-time contenders like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But when asked by L'Equipe who his toughest opponent has been, Van Dijk surprisingly named towering France international Giroud. "I think that Olivier Giroud is the toughest attacker I have played against," said Van Dijk. "Every time, you think you've got a hold of him, that you've got him well marked, but he always manages to score in one way or another, with his head, his foot, his knee. He has often scored against me." Van Dijk has come up against Giroud on 14 occasions, with the striker scoring 6 goals in said games. Having enjoyed successful spells with both Arsenal and Chelsea in the Premier League between 2012 and 2021, scoring 144 for the London clubs combined, the striker has continued to impress well into his late 30s at AC Milan in Serie A. Despite now being 37, Giroud has managed to his double figures in Serie A in each of the last 3 seasons, becoming the first Milan to achieve this feat in over a decade with his goal in the weekend win over AS Roma. Hello the Cop, please subscribe my channel for follow Liverpool Football Club news on everydays.